Hey folks, it's me Roger back with a video where I talk about records. Hope you're all doing well out there. Hot as hell here. Guess it snowed in New Zealand. Cheers to you all. In the background, maybe you can hear the thunderstorm. It's bringing a little relief. Couldn't be ours to put something on, so just gonna be me. All right. Got a few records to show. As usual, I'm gonna start with new records, and there's really only one new record that I bought recently, and it's the new record from Agalloch. And the name of the album is Tween on Merge. Yeah, Merge. Yeah, Agalloch, Y-W-Y-E, Oak. Baltimore dream pop band. Well, interestingly, I really liked their last record, Shriek, which came out a couple of years ago. And I liked it so much I went and bought their back catalog, and their first records are really kind of more of an indie rock, guitar-driven thing. And then that Shriek record is much more of a synthy, dreamy 80s influenced dream pop wonderfulness. I love that record. And so this is an aptly titled record called Tween, which came between, it was all recorded between the time of Civilian and Shriek, their most recent album. Outtakes and maybe some singles and compilation tracks. Not totally sure, it's scant on information. But yeah, so it's the missing link between Civilian and Shriek, and it's wonderful. I love her voice. What is Jen Wasner? It has that Liz Fraser from Cocteau Twins, and maybe a little Joni Mitchell, and great, love it. It's aptly titled Tween. It's not. It has kind of a stopgap kind of feel to it, but if you like that Shriek record, if you like the band, if you like dream pop, and what is it about Baltimore? There's all beach houses out there and lower dens, and I'm sure there's more. Something in the water. Anyway, really enjoyed this. Just came out. Only gotten a chance to listen to it a couple times. All right, next we have some reissues, some really welcome reissues. Particularly if you're a fan of the band, Agalloch, Portland, blackened something metal band. Their first three albums, Pale Folklore, The Mantle, and Ashes Against the Grain. So, it's interesting that metal records, if they're allowed to go out of print, they can become really pricey. If you go and look on Discogs, this record, well, I don't know what it is today, but previously this originals of this went for hundreds of dollars. I mean, it came out in 2002. But anyway, so Agalloch, I've ever since I fell back in love with metal, this is a band I really liked, and so it's nice to have these on vinyl, official vinyl reissues. I showed a white vinyl copy of this not long ago that I found used that turns out is unofficial, which is to say pirated, bootleg copy, and so I'm happy to have an official version of it. So anyway, Agalloch. I was thinking they remind me a lot of early Ulver, and these first three albums kind of follow a similar arc of Ulver's first three records, which were just reissued, and I was listening to them, and that's where it occurred to me. Anyway, so this record their first record is like super ambitious, and there's the warbling soprano, and just like on the first Ulver record, there's some soprano, and really interesting and ambitious. And then the second record, it's like they are like, how how can we be still really heavy, but use acoustic instruments like pianos and harmoniums, and there's still some buzzing guitars and screaming and stuff and drums, but this record is so great, The Mantle. It originally came out in 2002. If the whole metal ghetto wasn't so forbidding, I really think there's a lot of stuff on here that people, non-metal heads, could really get a lot out of. I mean, there's just some really sweepingly beautiful musical moments, that are so far removed from what you'd think of as metal. Big bright major chords and acoustic guitars, and once you get used to his John Hamm's voice, The Mantle, really one of my favorite records of all time. And so also similarly, Ulver also made kind of an acoustic folk record, their second record, and then their third record was like a flat out metal record, and that's kind of what Agalloch did as well with their 2006 record, Ashes Against the Grain. This is metal, and kind of not satisfying after The Mantle. And they would follow this up with Marrow of the Spirit on Profound Lore, which is a really excellent record. These all came out on The End Records, and they're official. Sadly, Agalloch is broken up. Never got to see them live. Oh well. Alright, that's all the metal. And that's all for new records. I went out one day. I went to 3 record stores. I came home empty-handed. Now that never happens. But, later on I got lucky. Like, I found this used, although it's brand new, seeming, near mint. Don Cherry live in Stockholm. 2 LP set on Caprice, Swedish label. These were previously unreleased live recordings that came out in 2013. 2 LP set. First LP is from 1968, and the second disc is from Museum of Modern Art, the Bucky Dome, probably July 3rd, 1971. Fantastic. Who would sell this? I don't know. I was like, find it used for, bupkis. James Buttery showed this recently in his 5 for 5 and kind of described it pretty well. John Cherry was sort of living in this sort of commune in Sweden, and he's accompanied by basically fellow commune members, not really sure, and so it's pretty wild, pretty free, kind of, tribal, beautiful. I love it. Don Cherry was such an inspiration to so many people. I mean, anyway, this was the find of the week. Found this at Grimes up on the wall, and it's like, okay, what do we have here? And it's Neu 75 on Brain, German Brain label, the gatefold. It's not a first pressing, that would be on the green label, right? It's a black label. Now, I've seen green label, I've seen orange label. So this may even be a third pressing. Who cares? It's Neu. What is there to say about this record? My favorite of the 3 Neu records. If only because it's the most consistent, I think. Anyway, I got this for such a great price because Grimes, Brain. Grimes price is tough to move, and score there. And I found this at another place, and it was way up on the wall, and I wasn't sure what it was. The more I was like, what? Couldn't possibly what I think it is, because whenever I've seen them, they've been just completely trashed. But it's a pretty nice copy of Love's Out Here on Blue Thumb from 1969, 1970. Double LP with this great cover that actually opens vertically. Yeah, nowhere on the outside of the jacket does it say have any text whatsoever. That was pretty radical for 69. Love. What is there to say? It's the only original Love album I own. Everything else I have on reissue. And I've seen this around, but usually it's just Ringwear Central and the vinyl's trashed. And, it's not their best work. It's a double album, so there's some sprawl. I'm of the opinion that a drum solo is almost never a good idea. Particularly when you stretch out a decent little song out to like 12 minutes or whatever. Anyway, so it's a mixed bag. But I was super happy to find a nice original of this. Because I just love Love. Arthur Lee, I think, was an unsung genius, although I think he didn't do himself a lot of favors, you know what I mean? Anyway, here's to Arthur Lee. Here's an interesting private press jazz record I found. Jerry Ganelli, Visions, on Excalibur out of Boulder, Colorado, from 1978. Now, Jerry Ganelli, drummer, you've heard him play on with Vince Guaraldi Trio, all that Peanut stuff. He's the drummer on that. This sounds nothing like that, although I love that stuff. But this is like a free modal thing with really interesting Whitney Eisenwinter playing pedal guitar, P-E-D-D-L-E. That's how you know it's private press, when there's misspellings like that. But yeah, it's a pedal steel guitar on some of this. It's really, really cool, and saxophone and guitar and bass, and this is excellent. There's a poster and a little CV bio of Jerry Ganelli inside, so this is clearly a promo copy that got water damaged, and the vinyl was never ever played, I don't think. So this was kind of a nice score, and an excellent private press jazz record. He's still around. Jeff, Glowing Double Cabbage, was telling me that he saw him recently. That's pretty cool. Hey, Jeff. Been looking for a decent copy of this. Les McCann, Layers, on Atlantic from 1974, maybe. On the tip of the VC and the Fraternal Order, I was informed that this is an essential Les McCann record, and it's so great. God, you lovers of analog keyboards, there's Rhodes, there's ARPs, there's Moogs, there's string ensembles, this just evokes 1974 like, nothing. And can't remember if there's any singing on it, but if there was, it was, all blended in. This is awesome. Not the most beautiful copy. Definitely something it's fairly common, but I'll be on the lookout for a nice upgrade of this, because it's really terrific. Alright, we're going pretty quick here. Good, I don't want to waste your time, So, yeah, I was at Crimes, and I was talking to my friend there, and we were talking about how, it used to be ECM records were, a dime a dozen. They were everywhere. And, I don't know about where you are, but here, that's all dried up. Aside from the big sellers like Pat Metheny and Keith Jarrett, it's like, I haven't seen anything. And I've been out on the lookout because I've been wanting to get some VCLT for someone who collects ECM, and they're not around. Came up because Grimey's they got a bunch in, including, now German pressings were never really common, of course, in the US, but I didn't even know this came out on vinyl. John Hassell, Power Spot from 1986. This is not your usual ECM record. Produced by Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois. It's a John Hassell record, and with his ensemble and Eno and I had the CD for a long time, and when I saw it on vinyl at Grammys, I was like, wow, that's cool. I grabbed it, looked it up on Discogs. It only ever came out on vinyl in Germany. That's there's ECMs, and then there's what a vast catalog. And those first 20 or so that never came out anywhere else but Germany are really rare, and they release so much stuff anyway, and they're still going. They're still going. All right, now here's a record, an ECM record that was always kind of around when I was in like high school and music school. And I don't know if I ever had a copy of my own, but have been since looking for a decent copy. And this is not an ECM you see around a lot, at least here. Art Ensemble Chicago, Nice Guys. This is a U.S. pressing from 1979. So now I have all of their studio ECMs. I have the live one on CD. I'd like to have that on vinyl. The Art Ensemble, what does there say? Hugely important to me. Their whole thing, and this record is it's all over the place, just like the Art Ensemble. This, the opening jaw it's kind of a piss take on reggae music, but it's kind of funny, but it's also very serious. It's also, they were capable of playing almost anything, and it's cool that ECM gave them a budget and some, high quality microphones and a nice studio to work in. Killer. This is another record that was really important to me when I was a youngster. Old New Dreams playing. This is a U.S. copy from 1981. So Old New Dreams is Don Cherry, Dewey Redman, Charlie Hayden, and Ed Blackwell. So basically the Ornette Coleman, the original breakthrough Ornette Coleman group, with Dewey Redman replacing Ornette. And they do Happy House, which is an Ornette Coleman tune, a couple of Ornette Coleman tunes, New Dream, Broken Shadows. This was my gateway drug to Ornette Coleman's music, possibly because he wasn't playing on it. It took me a long time for me to get used to his intonation, basically, the sound of his horn. I love it now, but when I was a kid, this helped me to hear, what the whole harmonic thing is about, even if I couldn't tell you what harmonic means, except in the most sketchy way. Incredible live album of incredible musicians at the height of their powers. Quintessential ECM. I didn't have it, but Colin Walcott, Grazing Dreams from 1977. This is a U.S. pressing. But again, great ensemble with Colin Walcott on sitar and tabla, John Abercrombie on acoustic electric guitars, electric mandolin, Don Cherry, again, great on trumpet, wood flute, Dusanguni, Pally Danielson on bass, and Dom Romeo on percussion. This is this is terrific. This is classic ECM, kind of world fusion, pastoral, beautiful, but sometimes a little edgy. A little, these guys are such great musicians. The thing about ECM is that 8-second reverb that's on everything, and that tends to blunt the edges. It's not how I would do it, but it's an aesthetic that you know, like all ECMs pretty much have like a certain aesthetic. Here's a nice German copy of Eberhard Weber's Colors, Silent Feet, from '78. This is a great band with Rainer Bruninghaus on piano and synthesizer, Charlie Mariano on soprano, saxophone, and flutes, and John Marshall on drums. And I'm not that name's not, I should have researched it, but he's courtesy of Harvest, so maybe a rock drummer, not sure. Anyway, this is complete with the insert with more paintings by his wife. And yeah, I mean, it's a lovely record. You know, the ECM label can be kind of bland, and I wouldn't put this in bland. I would put this in pastoral. Reminds me of wintry music, which is kind of nice because it's so hot right now, but not for long. All right, folks, 21 minutes. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments. Yeah, I'm going to a record show in Birmingham in a couple weeks, so I'll be back. Take care. Bye-bye.